Hello, in this video I will show you some code in ASP.NET Core, .NET 5 and React, so in a Spark client like React and Angular. How to save data with whenever you edit something on the server, you have to use the Authorize and the ValidateAntiForgery token. So this is not really documented at the moment, or not well done. So I will explain you my solution, and my solution is here in the background. You see now this is an edit page where I edit something, and I may save it, and then after saving it, it jumps to the read mode again, and then I may go back to the edit mode. So now I'm in an editable window. Whenever I save something else at 1719 and save it, then the result will be saved on the database. So let's say you see now this is written in that case. This sounds to be easy, but it's not, and that's why I have written all that stuff onto my website, where all my code is documented, and you will find now the explanations of the tricky stuff which is inside there. This, by the way, is also ASP.NET 3 page with something else, and it does the same. As you see, you may go here for editing something. Whenever you do something, you save it, and then it's at the same site. So whenever you write something with ASP.NET Core, you have the server side and the client side. And the ASP.NET is here, in my case, that's a demo example. And there you have, when you create it with Visual Studio, then you will get a small frame with a lot of stuff, and there's when you type Angular or Spark or Blazor or React, then you will get a framework or a template with, in this case, there's a code behind or server side, which contains of this startup and the program, and then there are the controllers. So you send something back to the server. In this case, my blog is article server, where I write all my blog articles. And then you have also the client app, and inside the client app you have either React or Angular or anything else, whatever you do. Inside the let's see, where is it? Inside the client app, you will find your source files, which are used from Visual Code when you take these SPA sites. In this case, I have these articles, or one article, and I may edit it, and now this is the edit.js file. Now, what have we to do when we want the identity framework for Microsoft? When you create that stuff, then you may you may insert or click to add the identity framework. And when you use that, you may have here on your controller, there you have, whenever you want to read something, no, it's not here. When you and when it's restricted stuff, when you want to write something, you only want that you yourself may write that. So you have here simply to add this attribute, which is called authorize. This means you have to be logged in. So what we see here, this is when you log out, this is the framework which comes with the identity framework when you make this template with Visual Studio. So you're logged out, and then you say I'm logging in, and when you log in, then now I will log in, and my site comes on there. So now my authorization flags are in the background. Okay. Now all what you have to do is keep care, is the user logged in? And then when it's logged in, take this authorize flag or attribute on there, and then you may be sure that it's the user. And then you may get the user, simply type there user.getUserID, for example, and then you will get a number like this. This is very easy, and this also sounds to be easy. Whenever I'm now in the articles, when I go there, and when I say, okay, I'm adding it, and now I'm saving it. When I save it, you will say here user, and when I say user, I have the user now in my, when the debugger comes up or not, I will get a result. Unfortunately not now. Now here it is. There's the user, and you see the user has the identity, and there inside the identity I will get it will get my name and all that stuff. Okay. I will not extend this at the moment because it's not that important. But if you are not logged in, then and you say at this at your client, when you say, in this case, API articles, and then / edit something, for example here read, or when you say save / so then the controller will not go to that point. You will get a 404 result as a in return, and the articles controller or the controller will never be reached. So you need to have to be authorized. How does this come from? This comes from startup, and inside startup you have always this app endpoints, and in the endpoints you have a simple block which is here pattern controller action ID, and the ID is with question marks, so you always have the controller and you have to say the action, and then it's there. The point, the address itself is here. When you go here to your controller, when you have multiple access points, for example a read and a write, or give me the images, or give me something else, or how many users were on that site. If you have multiple endpoints, then you have to say here with this attribute in the brackets root, and then for example here it's my API, and then the articles. This is the address which is matched. It's not the address here which you have here. A lot of people think you have to write in here API / and then some structure, because it's called pattern. The pattern itself is controller. It looks for a controller, action, and the ID. And the action is this one. These are the endpoints. In my case, it's the list, and then I have a read, and I have a write, and I have something else. Yeah, and when I say read, then the target will be read. Now something else is you have also to say HTTP get bracket read / and then the ID, for example. So this is the action, and you have to set it here. Otherwise you get multiple endpoints error. You have to set here always which target is available. Otherwise it will not match. Keep this one always HTTP get bracket, and then if you have the control, either you say bracket action, or you name it by the same name. And keep care that inside the brackets, if you read the ID, for example here articles ID, then you say the ID has to be the same name like this ID. Don't mismatch it, otherwise the controller will never match. Okay, this is now one point. Now the other point is then when somebody writes in your site, you have always the problem that there's a cross-site anti-forgery token, or that the bad guys want to write something from another site into your own site. So this is a cross-site anti-forgery or anti-forgery, whatever it is. In ASP.NET Core, it's ValidateAntiForgeryToken, and this is quite simple. If you have ASP.NET Core MVC, so it's only server, or when you have the Blazor site. If you use Spark sites as a client site, then you have the React and Angular Vue.js. There it's a little bit more tricky because the Validate Anti-Forgery token has to be in the header of your API call. Now we come to my site. In this case, it's edit.js. So this is a React site. When you come to the to send something, then you will, in React we use the response and then await fetch. Await fetch is send data to the API controller or to this API endpoint. And then it's routed through the server. Inside you see there's the server, and you come to the client app. And now you say API articles, and then this is the action, and then this is the ID. Now you have request options, comma request options, and you have to set here constant resets request options. Then you have to say method is put, for example, or post. Then you have to add the headers, and this is now the main important stuff, because if you want that it's only usable by somebody who is logged in, then you have to add here by the comma, split it by the comma, authorization bearer token, and the token is given somewhere in the startup. The startup code will also be there, and then you have, if you want that there's a cross-site validation, that nobody else uses it from another site, but when you use a client app, you're already in a cross-site because this is different. The client is different from the server side. So this is difficult because you're using the API. So what do you have to do? You have to also add here the X is cross-site reference token, and you have to add it into the headers. Otherwise you get a 404 error or 400 error, bad content. So what you have to do, you have to say somewhere there's a script, and you have to say, hey, in the startup I give you a template, or I add you a cookie, and the cookie you have to read in your client the cookie XSRF token. And then if it's there, if you get this cookie, then you have to add it inside here. You will say here, this is the token in your the address, comma, adds a token which is called XSRF token, and then the token. And where does it come from? You have to read, this is really tricky. You have to add a small JavaScript function where you say get cookies, read the cookies from the document cookies. So this is the cookies from your browser. I won't show it now on your site, on the browser itself, because its time is running. But what this code does, it reads the cookies and takes that cookie which is called here. Give me, which I say, read the cookie XSRF token. Now this code does this one. It's reading the cookies, and it makes a splits, because you also have the session ID there, and you have other cookies, who am I, and something else, you know. And then you have to decode your I component, because there are signs in there. You have to decode it, and then it returns the cookie value, and then you have to add the cookie value there. Okay, this is, if you do that, then it's working, and that's why what you see there. If you're not logged in, for example, log out. I think these client spas are like React and the other one, the Angular, is very slow. I would really prefer only to have the other side. Now is it hanging or what's? Yeah, now you're logged out. You see, this is very slow. Now I'm logging out. No, it's not logged out now. Somewhere it hangs. Okay, go back. You're logged out. Now I'm logging in again. Remember me, remember my name. Now I'm back again. Now if I'm logged out, if I would be logged out, now I'm logged out. When I go now to my site, that's what I wanted to show, and when I go in there, the site automatically jumps to the other to the login, because I wanted to go to this to this address, which is an edit address, which means in my case I made some emoticons, so that it means edit page 33, and it automatically routes me to the login. That's why we see always that point, and this is done by simply by this small authorize flag or attribute. If you take this one, then the system routes you to the login. Now I'm in my login again. Now I may save something. If I'm not logged in, or if I come from another site and I push the save and go to the API, then here would come the page 404 out of bad request 400. So this makes the ValidateAntiForgery token. Now a little bit more. Now with 17 minutes what I'm talking. You have to add here in the you have to add in configure services this small code, which means where is it? Here. This small anti-forgery token, which is also documented in Microsoft. You say here, add the header name. This is a placeholder. It's a placeholder, XXSRF token. It's a placeholder. And that's the configure services. And then you go to your site, to the configure. Configure means whenever a request comes to the server, then it drops in there. And then you have to say, when my app, which actually, when you call me, then I'm looking for the path, and then we say, wherever the path is, for example, API or Swagger or articles. Oh, this is wrong. It has to be /articles. Wherever this is, either when the path is in the root or in the index, or whenever the something of this array where the path starts of API, Swagger or something else, then it adds a cookie. It says response cookie append XSRF token. So especially this one, it's not with a separate dash. I'm not sure if this is really okay, but it works fine. Then it says I'm creating a new cookie, and it says this is all stuff. It's not really necessary, but it says when you're on HTTP only is false. When you are there, whenever you come to this site to articles and edit, then add the cookie on there. And when you are now in the edit file or in your Angular, React or something else, and and when you try to send something, whenever you say send something, now here my request, and now I'm saying okay, response, I await fetch with the method put or post. Then you go to the server, and you have to say here this token has to be there. Okay, this was a lot of stuff, and I wanted to show you 2 days of work in my point, and I've written this one either on ready.net or on my code doku site, and I will add the link of this code on my site, and you will find especially this code which is for my React site and for my ASP.NET Core site. And when you are nerfed by the error 404 and 400 batch request, and when you get nervous and destroyed, then you may open that site and take all that code sites which I've shown you, implement it in your site, and then it will run a bit slowly, but it works.